What is good, y'all? It's your boy Mixtape Moth. If you are rocking with this content, please make sure to subscribe to the channel. Also, hitting that like button is greatly appreciated. It helps to keep the channel growing. But today, I'm going to hit y'all with my thoughts on this new mixtape from French Montana entitled Mac and Cheese 5. Moroccan born, South Bronx raised, French Montana is back with what might be a highly anticipated project for some. And look, I feel that whether you like French or you do not, he did play a role in New York hip hop during the 2010s. He had a decent mixtape run, and he has a knack for making some bangers. But I get that he is a polarizing type of figure for some. So this new project is his fifth installment to his famed Mac and Cheese series. The last one, I believe, dropped back in 2016. Mac and Cheese 5 contains 21 tracks and has an overwhelming amount of features, which really shouldn't come as much of a surprise. But this does clock in at around the hour mark. But with that being said, let me go ahead and just hit y'all with that track-by-track breakdown. The opener, Dirty Bronx intro, is a solid way to set this project off. It opens with some beautifully sung vocals from Amber Run, and then it transitions into the gritty Times Up sample from OC and Buckwild. And you can't really go wrong with this sample. And I also feel like this was French's attempt in showing, you know, his real hip-hop South Bronx roots. I also liked how he was clapping back at some of his critics here with lines like, "Yeah, you sold 100 million, but they all features. Never that. Most of my plaques, I'm the features. Also, and Shanks is way better than you. Yeah, he was better than me. He was my prodigy, dog. He was supposed to be." Check 2, Talk to Me. It is an atmospheric banger that I have no real issues with. French does interpolate the Talk to Me Jodeci sample on the hook, which is fairly catchy. So yeah, there's not much to report on lyrically here, but it's a banger with decent vibes. Track 3, Stand United, was a leftover from the Donda sessions back in 2020. And even though I like this track for the sample that is, it's still a bit of a mess vocally. The back and forth between French and Kanye was cool, but I found the Buju Bonton and St. John portion to feel just a little out of place. But at the end of the day, the soul sample, courtesy of them joints, made it work. The following song, Splash Brothers with Rick Ross and Lil Wayne, is one of the high points. Wayne did come through with some slick wordplay and one-liners, while Ross had a pretty solid performance as well. Instrumentally, I thought this was a go, and French's rising to the top hook, it wasn't bad. French did make a bold claim though. He said, when Hove took a break, I had this city for a decade. Is that a true story? It might be. I'm not saying it's not, but immediately after is Okay with Lil Baby, and it has a hard as nails, multi-layer trap beat from ATL Jacob and Mike Dean. The Lil Baby feature was what I would expect a Lil Baby feature to be, and so was French's part. But all in all, this would sound good in the gym, or if you're just riding around. The production was indeed the selling point. Then there is Casino Life 3, another highlight on the album that did feel as if it could have been produced by Harry Fraud, but it wasn't. You have a psychedelic Journey sample that sounded great, and French was talking his talk once more, boasting about doing songs with Kanye, Nas, and Hov. But as a whole, dope song that does have that vintage French feel. The subsequent song is Where They At, featuring Westside Gunn and Kanye. Well, more like some Kanye vocals that had been chopped up and added in. But this will likely be a standout for traditionalists, as it has a booming bass line, a dope feature from Gunn. Yeah, it's just a crunchy boom bap track that's hard to dislike. Afterwards is just a skit that has some Goomba-like conversation that really just takes up space. Next is Too Fun, where we do see French trying his hand at drill music. This does feature 2 drill artists. And while the lyrics are not good at all, I could appreciate the wavy a vibe to the drill beat, so I didn't mind this one. Following this is Facts, another record with a dope beat, catchy hook, solid vibe, but basic bars. And that's okay. It doesn't have to have great bars, but it just is what it is with some of these French tracks. But the production did slap. Track 11, Praise God, however, does have some better lyrical moments. This, of course, features JID, and it's a high point from the album. Both JID and French are getting a little spiritual, a little contemplative. JID raps, gotta play it slow. I heard Jesus died at 33. Boosie said, you're past 25, you're an OG. And even French Montana had a motivational line. He said, before you hit the top, lose hope and feel powerless, gotta remember even Jesus had 12 followers. That was pretty thoughtful. Track 12 is Money Ain't a Thing, featuring Lil Durk. And look, this does sample from the classic Juvie and Manny Fresh track 400 Degrees. So some automatically are going to feel that French and Durk had ruined the classic. But again, it is what it is. But this version doesn't sound bad. Lil Durk, though, was the MVP, clearly. The next record is Goals with Jeremiah, and it was my least favorite moment on the album. While I suppose I liked the strumming beat from Buddha and Grands, that was about it. In the following song, Other Side, doesn't get much better, and that's due to some heavily auto-tune drenched vocals from French. Yeah, like these two last tracks weren't terrible, but they don't have much of an appeal for me. However, the following song, Fake Friends with Bryson Tiller, was an R&B track that I think was done well. The production slaps, and Bryson Tiller carried the track. After this is Where We Came From, a track with the perseverance edge. Now, he's not saying a whole lot lyrically, but the chipmunk vocal sample was pretty attractive. Track 17 is Made It in USA, and it also has some perseverance vibes. And this contains an urgent soul sample that is one of the better ones from the project. As a whole, solid record, but I do feel this could have benefited from a feature from the likes of Benny or let's say 38 Spesh, who's just giving that feel. Track 18 is Millionaire Row, and you already likely heard it if you had listened to the Rick Ross and Meek album a few months back. Then there is Ride the Wave, a decent guitar strumming track that has Max B's name written all over it. Overall, it's a good and chill vibe. The second to last song is Back in Style, and it's easily the weakest song on the album. Yeah, the auto-tune was over the top, and a lot of French's bars were downright cringy. And this album wraps up with Documentary featuring Mickey Echo. Now, Mickey Echo also recently appeared on 21 Savage's last album, which was a great song. And sonically, this track, Documentary, feels similar to the 21 Savage one in that it is also atmospheric and bluesy. And there seemed like a bit of attempt at some introspection from French, but the auto-tune made it sound a little less heartfelt for me at least. Still a decent closing track as far as the production and the chorus was concerned. So overall, I'm going to give this project a rating of 3.5 mics. I think it's pretty solid front to back. But it does have some skips, and it could have benefited from a trimmed down track list. Also, it did feel like a couple of the songs were a bit unfinished, almost as if they could have benefited from some fine tuning. That being said, I did find the production to be pretty hard hitting the whole way through, and the features mostly did not disappoint. Actually, the features pretty much carried this project, but you know, every now and then, French will say something profound or he will have a line. You're like, okay, bro, but you know, those moments are not that frequent. Now, I already know there's some folks who have their mind made up about French Montana, but I didn't think this was a bad project, if we are being fair. Some bangers indeed, but there were also some misses. Let me know in the comment section where you feel this project ranks with the 4 previous Mac and Cheese mixtapes. My favorite tracks include Dirty Bronx Intro, Splash Brothers, Okay, Casino Life 3, Where They At, Praise God, Fake Friends, Made It in USA, and Documentary. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section. It's your boy Mixtape Moth. I'm signing out. But as always, it's peace and blessings, French Montana. Mac and Cheese 5. one.